Kids say the weirdest things sometimes. Things that we as adults, most of us anyways, would feel ashamed to even think about. Never mind saying it out loud. And usually when that happens, your mind kind of goes racing, thinking, where is this coming from? So here are 10 creepy as F things kids said to the adults that absolutely chilled them to the bone. I have a 3-year-old who says some pretty strange stuff. Last night, "Mommy, the man, the very big man with big yellow eyes is looking at you." I look. Nothing. I tell him there is no man and he's make-believe. My son laughs. "Oh, he's hiding now." 2 minutes later. "Oh no, Mommy, you made him very mad. Now he says he will come when you're sleeping." A few weeks ago he tells me, "I'm not going to be 4. I'm going to die, and you will put me down in the hole." I tell him that it isn't true, and who told him that? He gets quiet and goes, "The man told me, but I will be scared, so after 3 nights you die too and come with me." Sheesh, as if I didn't have bad dreams already. When my son was in kindergarten, I received a call from his teacher while at work saying he refused to go outside at recess time and was sitting there terrified. He said there was a guy named Odie who had brown hair and a brown beard who kept telling him, "Come here, buddy," over and over while he was playing outside before school started. They reviewed tapes and didn't see anyone. Scared the crap out of me that some man was trying to abduct him, but I'm pretty sure he either sees ghosts or has a very active imagination. He also said this guy talked to him at the bus stop or outside his window on the 2nd floor. He also refused to go anywhere near the entire half of one of our old homes when he was 1 or 2 years old. He would just stand in the doorway and point. A good friend of mine and her husband bought what is considered an old house around here, Western Canada. Not many houses over 100 years old. They were renovating the basement one day while I was visiting. I was down there alone with their son, who was barely 2 at the time and could not yet speak in full sentences. He took my hand and led me over to a brick chimney-like thing with a rusty metal door on it. He looked up and said, "That's where the dead babies go." I was horrified. Firstly, because like I said, the kid could barely talk, let alone say something like that. I doubt he even knew what dead meant. I'm positive that no one would have told him that, and there were no older kids around that would have said that as a joke. Still creeps me out to this day. My noticeably pregnant sister and I were having a conversation at the dining room table. My 4-year-old son was also present and asked my sister if there was a baby in her belly. She affirmed. He, completely straight-faced, slid from his chair and headed for the kitchen saying, "We need to get it out. I'll go get the knife." I don't even know. When my son was little, about 3 years old, he used to do this weird crawl where he would slide his forehead along the floor. That was pretty creepy in itself. Then one night, he crawled across the hallway into my room like that and stood up a few inches from my face and made a weird meow sound. He got into bed with me and went to sleep. Another time, he was freaking out by a monster in the basement, so we went down and saw nothing, of course. And as I turned out the light and headed upstairs, he said, "He's right behind us now." I might have been a little, possibly the creepiest thing he did was one day I scolded him for misbehaving, so he hid his head under the blanket. I pretended I couldn't find him by saying, "Where's my little Carson?" He slowly lowered the blanket and with a dead evil stare said, "Carson is gone. I am Rick." I am certain he's possessed. We never knew any Ricks as far as I can remember. Still don't. Never figured out where he picked up the name. When I was a waitress, I watched a little girl, 4-ish, stab her plastic fork into her sandwich repeatedly, saying, "Die, die, 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 die." When I asked her what was she doing, her mom was in the bathroom for a minute. She replied with a straight face, "I like to kill things, but mom says I shouldn't. So I picked the ham because it can't scream." I work in a preschool. Creepy shit gets said and done all the time. The one that sticks out to me happened last year. There's a small kitchenette area in our classroom that the kids use during free time for playing house or whatever pretend games they think up. There was one little girl that I was keeping a close eye on, mostly because of how withdrawn from other kids she was. I noticed she was playing with a baby doll in the kitchenette, rocking it back and forth and singing to it. She then took the baby, shoved it into the play oven and slammed the door shut. Then she turned around, looked straight at me, and said, "Sometimes bad babies go in timeout." In the creepiest little girl voice I've ever heard before smiling and running off. That one kind of shook me. My coworker's 4-year-old daughter always thought that the rattling of the water pipes in the kitchen cupboard were white wolves, and the sound always scared her. One day she was sitting at the kitchen table and she said, "Mom, the white wolves aren't bad, they're our friends." Her mom encouraged the idea by saying, "Yes, the white wolves are protecting us, they're our friends." Then her daughter added in, "They're our friends, but not the man who crawls on the floor and stands by my bed." I was sound asleep, and at around 6 a.m. I was woken up by my 4-year-old daughter's face inches from mine. She looked right into my eyes and whispered, "I want to peel all your skin off." The backstory here is I had been sunburned the previous week and was starting to peel. In my sleep adult state, however, it was pretty terrifying for a few seconds. I didn't know if I was dreaming or what was going on. While changing my daughter in front of the open closet door, she kept looking around and laughing. I asked her what was so funny. She said, "The man." To which I replied, "What man?" She then pointed at the closet and said, "The man with the snake neck." I turned around and nothing was there. I'm afraid to look into the history of my house to see if anyone hung themselves in the closet. At least she wasn't scared. All of these stories were pretty freaky, but which one you think is the creepiest one? The man with the snake neck is pretty eerie to me because what I am picturing when I read that title is quite disturbing, so I don't know, let me know. Also, just thought I would add this. I went to VidCon in London the other day and it was my very first time. I had a really good time. I enjoyed the event. The food in there is quite expensive, but it's good. Everything was alright, but in the case of socializing, the next clip pretty much sums it all up.